Hi everyone, Tassif here with a live stream. And as you can see, I am doing this live stream. My camera position is vertical, and that's because I was outside when I set up the stream. And so I set it up from my phone, and I forgot to change the orientation. I set it up vertically, and now I usually do it horizontally. So now you're going to have to watch me vertically. I don't think that's an issue. It's just a little bit of it becomes a little bit of an issue on my end, the way my table is set up, the way I, put my tablet in position. And so it's easier if I do it horizontally. I think it just looks better. But anyway, the main purpose of the live stream is to communicate ideas, to share thoughts, and to engage in a conversation with anyone who's tuning in. And I think we can do that whether or not my camera orientation is vertical or horizontal. So let's see who is here. This is just 3 minutes past 9 p.m. here. Terry writes, shoveling snow again, South Dakota. Well, Terry, we had a little bit of snow in Wisconsin also overnight, and so there are some slippery spots. Today I was outside and I saw some slippery spots, but that's okay. That's life in Wisconsin. Maya Sisters writes, hi Terry. Hi Maya. Terry writes, hi Maya. Well, thank you all for being here. There are some things I want to discuss, really important topics. And as I'm discussing, I want to hear your thoughts. So please use the live chat window to share with me your views, your comments. You may have already seen the title of the live stream, and I'm going to be talking about the House of Representatives. Very important topic, my friends. The Republicans just faced a massive loss in a special election in New York. It's New York's 3rd congressional district. There was a special election, and this was the seat that George Santos had. And after his departure from Congress, there was a special election for that seat. And in 2022, let me just do a little recap. In 2022, George Santos won the House seat with more than 53% of the votes. That's a very decent victory. I mean, it's in a place like New York, a Republican winning a House seat with 53% of the votes. That's pretty good. And then, as we know, George Santos is no longer in the House of Representatives. And after his departure, there was a special election for that seat. And in that election, a Democrat won. Tom Suozzi. He won the special election, and Mazi Pilip, the Republican candidate, did not win. And this is a big loss for the Republicans. My friends, you all probably already know that the GOP has a slim majority in the House. We have a House majority, which is great, but it is a slim majority. It's not a very big majority. It's not a significant majority. And so, as we have seen in the recent past, if a few Republicans, so if there's a legislation that's highly supported by the Republicans in Washington, the Republicans in the House of Representatives, but maybe a few Republicans don't support that bill, then a few votes lost, that can actually prevent a GOP supported bill from moving forward. So there's not enough wiggle room, and which is why I keep saying that the Republicans have to work on improving the size of that majority in the House. So with a slim majority, it's very challenging. And now that Tom Suozzi has won the special election, and it's a seat that George Santos had, that's a loss because now the Republicans, based on the numbers that I saw, the Republicans will control 219 seats and the Democrats 213. Um, I hope I'm not mistaken. I think those are the numbers, but you can look that up. That's a slim margin. And a slim margin is going to make legislating very difficult for the Republicans. My friends, in November of 2024, we are hoping to see Donald Trump win. And I keep talking about it. I keep saying that Donald Trump is clearly the front runner, and I'm hoping that he's going to win. And I'm also hoping that the Republicans will regain majority in the U.S. Senate. That's my hope. Let me just look at the chat window. Yep. So I'm looking at some comments here. Yeah. So Terry is writing a comment here. The Republicans, we are a party of strong principles. Okay. I think the Republicans are united in the fight for truth, and the Republicans are looking forward to governing in a way that promotes freedom, that promotes liberty. And so we are a strong party. We've got the right principles, and we've got the energy. And so that's what we must always highlight, and that should be the focus. Numbers do matter, and as we have seen in the past, with the slim majority, as I've already said, if we lose a few votes, then a heavily Republican supported bill may lose its momentum if we lose a few votes from the Republican Party in the House. So I'm looking forward to seeing the majority grow in size. And as I said, I'm hoping that Trump wins the presidency. I'm hoping that Republicans win majority in the U.S. Senate. And I think in a previous live stream, or maybe it was a video, I don't remember, might have been a live stream, I talked about how the GOP can win majority in the Senate. If Jim Justice in West Virginia, if Jim Justice can win the West Virginia Senate seat, then that will be an addition, the seat that Joe Manchin now has in West Virginia. Since Manchin is not running for re-election, if Jim Justice wins that seat, that'll be a major victory. If Kari Lake wins in Arizona, that'll be an awesome victory. And if Larry Hogan wins in Maryland, that will also be a very nice addition. And those three victories can help us get the majority that we need in the Senate. And considering that GOP incumbents do not lose any of the Senate races, so keep the incumbents. The incumbents, if they get reelected, and if we can pick up the West Virginia seat, the Arizona seat, and the Maryland seat, I think that'll be excellent. So that'll give us majority in the Senate. But we need all three. We need a Republican president in the White House. We need a Republican majority in the Senate. We also need Republican majority in the House. And we do have that majority. That's the only thing we have. We don't have majority in the Senate. We don't have a Republican president in the White House, but we do have a House majority. But I'm afraid that, it's a very slim margin. And given this loss in New York, in the 3rd Congressional District, I mean, is there a possibility that the GOP could lose the majority in the House? I hope that doesn't happen. I hope the GOP keeps the majority in the House and grows the size of the majority. But you never know. Politics is unpredictable. We don't know what the outcome will be on election night. And so I'm worried after seeing that we did not win the New York 3 congressional seat. And let me tell you why I'm worried. I'm worried because this was an election that took place in New York. And for months and months, I have been talking about the crisis in New York, how New York, not just the people in New York City, but New York State in general, is suffering. The people in New York are suffering because of the influx of migrants. Now, New York is, largely a blue state. Most of the voters are liberals. There are some Republican areas, but overall, when you look at the state, it's a blue state. It's a Democrat state. It's a blue Democrat state. When you look at the entire picture of New York, there are some Republican areas, which is why we have some members of Congress who are Republicans from New York. But what I was thinking is that a lot of the people in New York will see that liberal policies are really causing permanent damage. And I was hoping that there would be a shift in the way people vote. And maybe a lot of the independent voters will who previously voted for Democrats will realize that Democrat policies are hurting, and maybe they'll move towards voting for Republicans. That's my hope. That's still my hope. But when I saw the result of the New York 3 congressional district race, I'm pretty disappointed. I'm disappointed because I was hoping that New Yorkers are going to be tired of seeing liberals destroy the peace and prosperity in the state by adding fuel to the fire of illegal immigration. And I was hoping that New Yorkers will, as a result, reject the liberals and their policies and vote for conservatives and vote for Republicans. But in New York 3 special election, that did not happen. A Democrat won that race, and that's making me worried. I am hoping that more and more conservatives, more and more Republicans will be elected to public offices in New York. Let me look at the live chat window. Maya Sisters writes, did not follow New York race. Was Mazi Philip a good fit for the district? Maybe think about a different candidate. Honestly, I did not follow the New York 3 race closely either. I wasn't paying real attention to it. In the days leading up to the election. And so I bet what ended up happening, maybe a lot of people did not pay attention. And maybe that's why, the Democrats won. Maybe the Democrats were just able to, do better get out the vote campaign. I don't know what's going on. Honestly, I should have paid more attention. I did not, because there's so many things going on in the world, in the country at any given point in time. It's hard to keep track of everything. But as soon as the result came out, and that struck me like, oh, there was this, important special election and a Democrat won. And in 2022, it was a Republican who had won. And it's just like, in general, my expectation going forward in New York is that people are going to reject the liberals and their policies. And if we don't see that happen, that makes me worried. Barb writes, hi. Hi, Barb. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you being here. We are 13 minutes into the live stream. I have a lot more to talk about, so I'm going to keep moving forward. If you have questions at any point, just let me know. I'll be paying attention to the live chat window. So, okay. Well, let's go back to 2022. Leading up to the November 2022 election, in the months prior to the November 2022 election, if you were paying attention, then you're going to remember this. There was a lot of conversation about a red wave, some big red wave that's going to happen, and that November 2022, in that election, the Republicans across the country, they are going to see major victories. They are going to win, and will gain majority in the Senate, so on and so forth. We heard those conversations, and honestly, that really did not turn out to be true. I mean, we did have some major victories in November 2022, but there really was no red wave. If you pay attention to what was happening across the country, at least based on what people expected, those expectations did not turn out to be true. The expectations were not met. There was not a red wave. There was no red wave that would have made people say, "Oh yeah, we had major victories. The Republicans won many elections." We didn't see that. Okay, so coming out of the 2022 election, we don't have majority in the Senate, and that's a big factor. And the House majority is also pretty slim. And so just keep that in mind. We expected a red wave in November 2022. We had victories, we had some major victories, but overall, there wasn't the kind of red wave that people were expecting. And so, as we head towards November 2024, people are expecting a red wave. And if you pay attention to the logic, it makes sense because a Democrat administration is responsible for this massive influx of illegal immigrants. The Biden administration kept the border open. That's why millions and millions of foreign nationals have entered the country illegally, and they are here. They are in different communities expecting free housing, free food, free shelter, free legal services, free medical services, so on and so forth. Um, and and uh, and there are other problems. There's inflation, there are supply chain issues, and there are lots and lots of other problems. There's that push for green energy, which is causing the price of energy, fossil fuels, price of gas to remain high. Gas price is still very high in Wisconsin, and so if voters are paying attention to all these issues, and if voters are seeing that it's hard for them to make ends meet, that they're given the hard work that people put in, they're not making enough money to keep up with the expenses. When people see this reality, when people see the border crisis, the rising crime in communities, and the inflation, and so many other problems, it's pretty logical to think that voters are overwhelmingly going to reject the Democrats and their policies, and voters are going to elect conservatives in offices across the country. So, the logic tells me that Republicans should win. Republicans, should be able to secure a U.S. Senate majority, a majority in the U.S. Senate. Republicans should be able to, grow the majority in the House. Republicans should be able to maybe win a few more governorships, and the White House. But once again, let me tell you, we expected victories, lots of victories, overwhelming victories in November 2022. That did not happen. I'll say it again. We did have some victories in November 2022, but it wasn't enough to be called a red wave. And so in November 2024, we are expecting victories, but we can't take anything for granted. We can't take anything for granted. In this day and age, um, the theories of politics don't always apply because we are in uncharted territory. The political arena is becoming more and more unpredictable every day, and so while the facts and the logic would tell us that yes, Republicans should win many elections, many different races in November 2024. But you cannot take that for granted. Do not assume anything. There are optimistic individuals like myself who are hoping for a real red wave in 2024. And with Trump hopefully on the ballot, I expect to see Trump on the ballot. I know Nikki Haley is still running. I don't know what makes her think that she could win the GOP nomination. She's running because I guess she thinks she would win the GOP nomination, but I don't see any real path. Anyway, keeping that aside, with Trump hopefully as on the ballot as the GOP nominee, we expect Republicans to be energized all over the country. But then again, no one can take things for granted. Do not assume that victory will be ours because it's an unpredictable world we live in. It's an unpredictable world. So looking at November 2022, I get worried about 2024. I am optimistic. I am very optimistic, but I'm not overconfident. I am not overconfident. I still think that there's a lot of work that that Republicans will have to do to actually ensure victory in November 2024. Let me see the comments here. Maya Sisters writes, uh, let's see. Maya Sisters writes, Republicans need economic plan for working class voters. Economy reminds me of Bush one when defeated by Clinton in 1992. Stress economic message. Okay. Terry writes, you are reasoning as a taxpayer. Those citizens who are receiving entitlements they don't deserve are voting Democrat to keep their money. So, you know, I think the taxpayers will have to stay informed. That's step one. You have to know what's going on in your surroundings. If you are a taxpayer and you get your paycheck and you see a massive part of your paycheck just gone in taxes, okay? If you earn $100, you don't get to keep $100. The government takes a big bite out of your paycheck. Which is the party that wants to tax people more and more? The Democrats. The Republicans don't want to tax people. The Republicans don't want to increase taxes. I'm talking in general terms. The Democrats are the ones who propose new taxes and new fees and this and that. And then with whatever money you have left over from your paycheck after taxes, take that money, go grocery shopping. You see that the prices have increased of food items, of many different things. Who would you blame for that? The inflation has risen under the Biden administration. Gas price is high because Joe Biden is in office and because his party promotes this green agenda, which is actually not affordable. And so I think when taxpayers see that gas prices are high, when taxpayers see that grocery store items have increased in price, try to find out the reason behind why it's happening. Who's in charge? What policies have caused inflation? What policies have caused gas prices to go up? And pay attention to what's going on outside the country. Why do we have so much of conflict around the world? America is the global leader. And so as a global leader, the US, if the US presents strength, if the US projects strength, peace through strength, then the world would be a better place. But for the last few years, we've seen chaos around the world. And our relationship with our international allies are not as strong as it used to be before. And it's just the issues, the concerns are not only domestic, but also international. We need peace and prosperity in the United States. And we also need to ensure that our position as a global superpower is strong so that people around the world can see the United States as a symbol of hope, as a symbol of peace, as a symbol of prosperity. And, our position in the world can help ensure peace around the globe. And, that's really not happening with this administration in charge. So, as a taxpayer, and, it's everything, whatever happens in the country around the world affects American taxpayers. And so taxpayers, they have to stay informed. They have to make informed decision when they go to vote in November 2024. And so let me move forward. I'm still very optimistic that Trump will win the White House. I am optimistic that Republicans will regain majority in the Senate. In the House, I hope that we get to keep the majority, and I hope that we can grow the size of the majority, but we cannot take things for granted. We cannot take things for granted. As I said again, and now I feel like I'm repeating the same thing over and over again, don't forget November 2022. There was no real red wave. We had victories, but not the kind of red wave that we were expecting. So going forward in 2024, we are hoping for a real red wave. Is that going to happen? There's a lot of hard work that's needed, a lot of messaging. The Republican candidates around the country will have to communicate to the voters what they believe in, what they stand for. Never assume that the voters know your position. Never assume that the voters know what policies you support. It's important for candidates to be out there, shaking hands, doing town halls, meeting with people in coffee shops, at diners, doing rallies, and spreading the message of peace, prosperity, hope, and economic stability. My friends, let me move forward here. Remember that Kevin McCarthy left Congress, and his departure is a big loss for the Republicans. An incumbent always has an advantage. And Kevin McCarthy's departure is a loss for the Republicans because he was an incumbent and now he has left. So will that seat be lost? Will a Democrat win that seat, or will a Republican be able to win that seat and keep that seat in Republican control? That's the question. In Wisconsin, Mike Gallagher, a Republican, has decided not to seek re-election. Okay, so now I'm talking about my state where I live, Wisconsin. Let me just check the live chat window here real quick. Maya Sisters writes, Trump has advantage because Biden is the incumbent responsible for economy and migrant crisis. Terry writes, red wave was hyped too much in media. Anything falling short looked like a defeat. Terry writes, Manchin, no Romney is running mate. Okay, so I'm gonna be talking about that. I'm gonna be talking about Joe Manchin here in a little bit. So let me just move forward. I have a few more things to say before I get to that. In Wisconsin, where I live, Mike Gallagher, a Republican, has decided not to seek re-election. Now, there are many Republicans, mostly Trump supporters, who are not happy with some of the decisions that Mike Gallagher made during his time in Congress. But then Mike Gallagher obviously has a lot of support in his district, and that's why he kept getting reelected to his seat in Northeast Wisconsin. And so, I'm not going to judge during this live stream the decisions that Mike Gallagher made. It's pretty obvious that within the Republican Party, Mike Gallagher has a lot of support, and then there are many Republicans who don't support him. And so, that's okay. I'm not going into the details of that. He clearly has communicated to the public that he's not going to run for re-election. And the real issue here is that as Mike Gallagher decides to depart from his seat and not run for re-election, it becomes a challenge for Republicans to hold on to that seat. It is our expectation that a Republican will win election in that seat, but then there's no guarantee. Because as I said, an incumbent always has an advantage. Maybe not always, but there is an incumbent advantage when we think about elections, congressional races. And now, what's going to happen for that seat in Northeast Wisconsin, the Republicans here in Wisconsin, they have to find a candidate who can save the seat, because the Democrats are probably going to be working very hard to win that seat in November 2024. And if they do that, then we lose another seat. And that's going to be devastating. And so what I'm trying to say is that Republicans have significant challenges ahead as they try to retain majority in the House. And as I have said before, it's important to not only retain the majority in the House, but to also grow the size of that majority. I've said that, I think, several times already in this live stream. So I hope you all understand my viewpoints. Please share with me your thoughts on this. I'm going to move on to the next topic. Let's talk about third-party candidates. We are already at the 30-minute mark. I appreciate you all staying connected with me. I still have some more discussion to do. And, I still have energy. It's been a busy day for me, but I have the energy to go on and continue talking on this live stream. There are some more important things that I need to discuss. Okay, third-party candidates. There is speculation. There is speculation that Joe Manchin may run for the White House as a third-party candidate. Okay, now we don't know if that's going to happen. We don't know for sure, but there's speculation out there. And, you can let me know what you think. Is Joe Manchin going to run for the White House as a third-party candidate or not? When asked about potential vice president pick, Joe Manchin mentioned two names, Mitt Romney and Rob Portman, okay? Both Republicans. And that's very interesting. So Manchin is a Democrat, U.S. Senator from West Virginia, and he's not running for re-election. Manchin, when he was asked about potential VP picks, he mentioned Mitt Romney. He said that in a hypothetical manner. He didn't say that he's going to run for the White House, okay? So just to be clear, because I'm just sharing with you what I've seen from the various news updates. So hypothetically, he said Mitt Romney, Rob Portman as potential VP picks. This is interesting because Manchin is a Democrat and Romney and Portman are Republicans. And so if Manchin really runs for the White House and he decides to pick either Mitt Romney or Rob Portman as VP, it would be a sort of like a interesting bipartisan ticket, right? A ticket in which one candidate is a Democrat, one is a Republican. Is that going to happen? We don't know that yet. But it seems that these days there's more and more conversation about independent candidates and third-party candidates. I think it's becoming, this discussion about third-party candidates, it seems to be gaining momentum in American politics. Now, American politics largely is two parties, the Democrats and the Republicans. There are some independent candidates and, people who run from some, smaller political groups. But politics is largely dominated by the Democrats and the Republicans. But it seems that this discussion of independent candidates is becoming more and more frequent as we move forward in the future. Now, there's already an independent candidate in the race, and that's Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And that is a big name. This is not your average, third-party independent candidate. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He has got the name Kennedy. He is from the Kennedy family. It's one of the most prominent political families in American history. And so Robert F. Kennedy Jr., as he is running as an independent candidate, it makes this election very interesting. This is an election that's very different from previous elections. It definitely is. And third-party candidates in this election could have an impact. And I'll talk more about that, but let me look at the live chat window here. Derry is expressing her disapproval of Romney as a VP pick for Manchin. So I see Terry's comment. And Terry also writes, I don't think Manchin is looking at 2024, maybe 2028. That could be it. That could be it. Maybe Manchin is thinking about 2028 and not 2024. Maya Sisters writes, Manchin and Haley have the same problem, no broad support. Maya Sisters writes, Manchin and Haley have the same problem, no broad support to win. Not sure if adding Portman or Romney picks up votes. Yep, lots of questions, but not enough answers. That's very true. as I was saying, third-party candidates may have an impact in this election. Now, Joe Manchin obviously was talking in hypothetical terms. He has not said that he's going to run. People speculate, people make assumptions. But let me tell you, the traditional theories about elections, it seems to me that those theories may no longer apply. There are political pundits who make predictions, who say this is going to happen, that's going to happen. But I think that these days, political pundits are less likely to be able to predict what might happen because there are so many unpredictable things that happen in the political arena today. It's hard to predict. And so uh, I think I may have mentioned this previously during one of my videos that some people ask, who is RFK Jr. going to take votes away from? Is RFK Jr. going to take votes away from Biden or for Trump? Now that's a logical question, but let me tell you, as a general principle, I believe that third-party candidates don't really take votes away from anyone. If you look at it, they still have to earn the votes. Okay, when a voter goes to the polling booth and votes for a third-party candidate, that third-party candidate is clearly earning the vote. But I understand when people say that third-party candidates will take votes away from Trump or Biden. I see what that means because, practically people assume that whoever's voting for a third-party candidate would probably vote for either the Democrat or the Republican candidate if the third-party candidate would not have run. So that's the idea. People typically think that, a particular individual voting for RFK Jr. means that if RFK Jr. would not have run, that individual would vote for either Trump or Biden, but maybe that individual would not vote at all. That's also a possibility. So, I say that third-party candidates have to earn their votes just like the other candidates have to, as a general principle. But I also understand that there are some practical thoughts that, some folks who traditionally vote for Trump or Biden may decide, or I should say, traditionally vote for Republicans or Democrats, may reject both parties and decide to vote for whoever is running as a third-party candidate. So there are many ways of looking at it, but the fact that a member of the Kennedy family is running as a third-party candidate, I think that's significant. That is very significant. And so after November 2024, we're probably going to know what the impact of RFK Jr.'s presidential campaign would be on the election. So, after the election, there'll be lots more analysis that we can do. Let me look at the live chat window here. Terry writes, I like Manchin, I like Kennedy, but only about 75% Trump is catching on all 8 cylinders. Let's see. And Maya Sisters writes, don't like Manchin, Romney is tolerable. We all have our views about, Manchin and Romney and, other members of the United States legislative branch, right? So there'll be a lot to discuss going forward. And so I guess I have one more topic I want to mention, but regarding the election, that's all I have to say for today. It'll be interesting to see what RFK Jr. does, how he runs his campaign going forward. It would really be interesting to have a three-way debate to see Trump, Biden, and RFK Jr. on stage doing a debate. Okay, all right. So let me know your thoughts on that. I just asked that question. Would you like to see Trump, Biden, and RFK Jr. on the debate stage? A three-way debate. I think that'll be very interesting. Now, I'm assuming that Trump becomes the eventual nominee and not Haley. So let me know your thoughts on that. I'm going to move ahead. I've got one more thing I need to discuss. Very important topic. Do you know where Lakewood, Colorado is? Anyone from Colorado on this live stream? Yeah, I see. I see Terry and Maya sisters talking, discussing, and Barb also said hi. But I know that there are more people on this live stream, so please, if you're watching this live stream, just say hello so I can see who's here. I'm not able to, I don't think I'm able to see who is here in this live stream. I can see how many people, but I can't see who unless you write a comment. So please write a comment. If nothing else, just say hi so I know who's here. Just wave, give a thumbs up, just so I can see who's here. And that way we can have more engagement. And I want to know if there's anyone from Colorado on this live stream. If there is, please say hello, because I'm going to be talking about Colorado. Lakewood, Colorado is a community that's just a few miles from Denver, Colorado. Lakewood is right there, right by Denver. And residents in Lakewood, Colorado are extremely worried because there are rumors that migrants may be housed in Lakewood. What can I say, my friends? What can I say? Denver is in crisis. There's a massive mess in Denver because of the migrant crisis. And now the people of Lakewood, Colorado, a neighboring community, they are worried that migrants may be housed in Lakewood. There was a city council meeting in Lakewood on Monday, and reportedly residents of Lakewood expressed their strong opposition, very strong opposition, to the idea of housing migrants in Lakewood, meaning that the residents of Lakewood, Colorado, do not want to see migrants being housed in Lakewood, Colorado. And I saw video clips of some of the area residents expressing their thoughts, their opinions during the city council meeting. I have not watched the entire city council meeting. I've just seen some news clips. And, it was heated. It was heated. And when you watch those clips, the clips of Lakewood residents expressing their strong opposition and rejecting the idea of housing migrants in Lakewood, when those residents were speaking at the city council meeting, you could see, you could feel, you could hear it in their voice, how strongly opposed they are. And that's how many Americans feel across the country. Americans are sick and tired of seeing their tax dollars being spent on foreign nationals who are here in this country illegally. And so if you decide to watch those news clips, if you decide to, do a search on the internet, just for your curiosity, if you want to see some of the comments that Lakewood residents made during the city council meeting this week, the things that they were saying are the things that many Americans across the country are also saying. Not everyone's saying it on camera. Now, obviously, I am, sharing my thoughts pretty vocally. I'm very vocal, as you can tell. And, because I speak the truth. I speak the truth. I'm being honest to the people who watch my YouTube channel, because I'm sharing my thoughts. I'm sharing my views openly. You can choose to stay silent, or you can choose to speak. And when you speak, you can, as an individual, you can speak to another individual, or you can choose a platform like I did, trying to reach more and more people. I am sharing my views on a platform that's accessible by anyone from anywhere in the world. I think anyone from most places in the world can go on YouTube, watch my videos, and they'll know where I stand on these issues. I strongly believe that we need to ensure border security and we need to stop the influx of illegal immigrants. I've said that many times on this channel, and I'll say it over and over again. Because if there's somebody who's watching my video or live stream for the first time, maybe somebody who just found out my channel and did not watch any of my previous videos, I want that person to know that I believe in border security, and I believe that we as a country, we must stop the influx of illegal immigrants. And when I see the residents of Lakewood, Colorado, sharing their views to their elected officials during a city council meeting, that's what America is about. People will have to stand up and share their thoughts and communicate with the elected officials and let them know what they support and what they don't. So the people of Lakewood, Colorado are rejecting the idea of housing undocumented immigrants in their city. Why should Americans continue to spend billions and billions and billions of tax dollars on the migrants when Americans have so many needs? As I have said before a number of times, there are Americans who are starving. They are not getting nutritious food. There are American children. There are seniors who don't have food security. There are many Americans who are homeless, and there are many who are on the verge of homelessness, who are at risk of homelessness. Maybe they have a place to stay, but maybe they are behind on their rent. Or maybe they lost the job and now they can't pay the rent next month or whatever. I mean, there are so many different financial challenges that people face. And there are Americans who are struggling, who are suffering. But the liberal politicians, they are busy spending tax dollars on the migrants. And so the people of Lakewood, Colorado, they are saying, no way. That's not going to happen in Lakewood, Colorado. The people are standing up. They are rejecting the liberal ideas. My friends, there are rumors that are being reported. Now, I don't know if there's an actual plan to house migrants in Lakewood. But if you just look up Denver and Lakewood on a map, you'll see Denver and Lakewood are right next to each other. And communities that are right next to each other, they often have a cooperative relationship. Like here in Wisconsin, I live in Dane County. I live in the city of Madison, but there are many other neighboring communities like city of Middleton, Verona, Fitchburg. There's Sun Prairie. There's Waunakee. There are other smaller communities surrounding the big city of Madison. Not a very big city, but it's growing. It's a fairly busy place, fairly busy city. So these communities, the elected officials in these communities, they help each other out, and that's normal. That's normal. Communities help each other out when there's a need. And so, but the needs would have to be legitimate needs. What Lakewood is saying is that Denver created this mess. Denver created this mess by opening up the doors for the migrants. And the people of Lakewood, they are right next to Denver, but they are saying we don't want to follow what Denver did. We don't want Denver's problems. Cooperation means different things. You help each other out if there's police service needs, or if there are emergency needs, or whatever. There are so many things, so many projects that neighboring cities and villages can work on in collaboration. And that's normal. It's the same way that you would have relationship in your neighborhood. If you've got a house and if you've got other houses in the neighborhood, the neighbors often know each other, they help each other out. They are there for each other, right? I mean, that's what makes a strong community. But it doesn't mean that Denver's going to make bad decisions and drag Lakewood into the ditch. So Lakewood residents, they can see what's happening in Denver, and they're saying, we don't want that in Lakewood. Denver invited its own problems. Denver created a crisis for itself. The politicians in Denver, they're not rejecting illegal immigration. They are providing services, housing, and so on and so forth for the illegal immigrants. The people of Lakewood, they don't want to do that. The people of Lakewood, Colorado, they want to see Lakewood residents getting the priority, American citizens getting the priority. As I said, no matter how affluent, no matter how resource-rich a community may be, and I'm not referring to Denver or Lakewood or to any particular community, I'm just saying in general, there's an American community, let's say, that has resources, that has financial strength, but nothing's unlimited. No matter how much money there is, it's not unlimited. Resources are always limited. You can have tremendous resources, but it's still going to be limited. There's a limit to the number of to the amount of resources that a community has. And so the people of Lakewood, they don't want to see their limited resources going towards the migrants when Americans living in Lakewood may have various needs. The message is very simple. It's our country. We must prioritize our people. There's nothing wrong about it. You have to prioritize your people. Different countries do the same thing. They prioritize your people, and that's why we have local officials. They are there to govern in a way that prioritizes the people of that community, the people of the American citizens living in that community. We have elected officials at the state level, at the federal level, so that they can work to serve their constituents, the Americans. So, Lakewood, I think the elected officials in Lakewood, they should do what the El Paso County Board of Commissioners did. The El Paso County Board of Commissioners, and once again, this is not El Paso, Texas. This is El Paso County in Colorado. The El Paso County Commissioners, they said that El Paso County will never be a sanctuary city, will not be a sanctuary city. So they made it clear. When the commissioners found out reports that some migrants have arrived in El Paso County, and possibly these are migrants from Denver, they basically said, no way, we're not going to be a sanctuary community. And in fact, the Board of Commissioners also they asked local nonprofits not to help the migrants out, because if local nonprofits who are actually there to serve the citizens of American citizens living in El Paso County, local nonprofits are there to help the residents, the people who live in that community. If those nonprofits use their limited resources to serve migrants, then that will draw more migrants. More and more migrants from Denver will end up going to El Paso County and expecting free housing and free food and free other lots of other services. So El Paso County made it very clear that the county will not be a sanctuary county. And that's what Lakewood should do. Lakewood, the elected officials in Lakewood, should do a press conference and say, you know what? We don't have resources for the migrants. Our resources are reserved for our community. We're going to help our citizens and not the migrants. That would be a strong message. Now, are the Lakewood officials going to do that? I don't know. But the Lakewood residents, the Americans living in Lakewood, they have clearly presented their message during the city council meeting on Monday. They rejected the idea of illegal immigration. And that's strength, and that's what should happen in communities across the country. The people should make it clear to their elected officials that our resources should not be used to house the migrants and to provide any kind of services to the migrants. American resources for American citizens. And yes, legal immigrants, people who enter the United States legally, people who come to this country by doing the proper paperwork and going through the proper background checks. There's a legal immigration process. People who come to this country legally, they come here, they work hard, they contribute to the growth and success of our country, and they pay taxes. And those are the immigrants we welcome, not those who cross the border and enter our country illegally. So once again, there are rumors that migrants may be housed in Lakewood. We don't know for sure. I'm going to be paying attention to news updates to find out what ends up happening. But as I said, Lakewood should follow what El Paso County Board of Commissioners in Colorado did. They rejected the idea of creating a sanctuary community. My friends, let me look at the live chat window. Are there any new messages? Let's see. Oh yeah, I see lots of comments here. Let me just look here. Maya Sisters writes, attended a conference in Denver, gorgeous state. Yeah, I know it's a beautiful state. I haven't been there. I was, a few years ago, I was thinking of going to Denver, but ended up not making that trip. And so maybe in the future. Focus and keep it on the policies, writes, migrants going to be everywhere after a while. That's the worry. As long as Biden administration is in power, the border is not, there's no border security. People are coming into the country every single day. And not all the migrants go to California, Illinois, New York, and Colorado. Migrants go to many states across the country, many communities. And that's why I say that, no matter where you live, if you live in a small town, if you live in a small village, if you live in a small city, big city, whatever, no matter which part of the country you are in, you should never assume that migrants are not going to arrive in your community. There's always, no matter where you live, there's always a possibility that you may see a migrant influx. And that's why it's important for people to tell their elected officials at the local level, your town board, village board, city council, your county board, tell your elected officials not to create a sanctuary community. And if your community is already a sanctuary community, tell your elected officials to remove that sanctuary community label, to get rid of that sanctuary community label, to declare that the city will no longer be a sanctuary city, the county will no longer be a sanctuary county. It's important for the people to stand up and to tell their elected officials that the community should not be a sanctuary community. And that's how, border security, God bless Greg Abbott. God bless Governor Greg Abbott. Being a governor of a state, he is doing the best he can to secure the border. The Biden administration is not doing their job. Okay? They have kept the border open. And so, by the time we get to November 2024, if the border remains open like this, there's going to be more and more migrants coming in. And are they going to be spreading all over the country? That's very likely. That's what may happen. And so that's what a viewer wrote. Migrants going to be everywhere after a while. Terry writes, build back borders. Yep, Terry. That whole build back better thing, it really failed, right? Biden's build back better. It did not build back better. We still have inflation. Gas prices are high. I talked about it. The border is still not secure. So nothing's improving. Let's see. Terry writes, cities can refuse to give many different licenses to illegals practice. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of there's tremendous power in local government, and if local elected officials want, then if local elected officials are united in rejecting illegal immigration, that's going to be a strong message going into the 2024 election. Okay. Uh, Maya Sisters writes, Terry, depends on the city and state. It is going to take a lot of work to deport asylum seekers and deny services, But there are communities that are doing that. And El Paso County is a great example. My friends, I just crossed the 1 hour mark. I'm happy to continue, but I don't know how many people are interested in staying longer. Let's see. Terry has written yes, way debate. So Terry, were you referring to the three-way debate that I proposed between Trump, Biden, and RFK Jr.? Is that what you were saying? I think that'll be a great debate. Yeah, it will be a great debate if that happens. I would love to see that debate. Maya Sisters writes, good night all. Enjoyed the conversation. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to end the live stream here. It's past 10 p.m. here in Wisconsin. I've got a busy day tomorrow, and I'm also a little sleepy. I worked hard today, and then in the evening I was also busy, and so I think I should just go rest for a little bit. All right, my friends. Thank you for joining, and sorry for this vertical orientation. I don't know if you like this or if my usual horizontal is better, but I appreciate you all joining and staying with me. Thank you so much for tuning in for the live stream. Please don't forget to like my videos and to tell your friends, family members, and neighbors about my YouTube channel. Please do that. Help me spread my word. And don't forget to visit my website, www.tausifanam.net. Tausif, my first name, Anam, my last name. It's tausifanam.net. That's my website. Thanks once again, my friends. I appreciate you all being here for the live stream. And if you have missed the live stream, you can watch the replay. You can watch the replay. Let me know your thoughts and comments. Thank you all once again. Have a wonderful night, and I'll be back again soon.